Greetings, y'all. I'm back. I told you I'd be back. Yeah, that's y'all because I'm reading you from Texas. This is Don't Sleep Texas, video number 16. Friday, I wasn't feeling too well, so that video should have been 15, but here we go. So, trying to talk to you all about, from my perspective, what I see on the Christian landscape. I get it. The Bible does speak on certain sins and abominations, but I also understand that I know what will harm me worse or more likely to harm me: a rapist or someone that's considered LGBTQAI plus. I know several family members, I know several friends, and I've not been harmed or threatened by them. But someone that is deceitful in business transactions, I'm talking about starting a whole university and people never receiving their degrees or a refund. That's why Mark Cuban is so put out with that gentleman candidate that's on the ticket at the top of the national election. That's why Mark Cuban is also upset, because he says he knows too many people in business that he has stiffed or lacked to pay. I think the Bible speaks on that as the commandment of theft, and just all the insults and lies. There's just so much that we're facing. I just hope that you're able to lay the facts out side by side. I'm hoping you're able to go to several news stations, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and actually just listen to the exact words out of each of the candidates' mouths. I have one candidate that is proclaiming listen to the start of his rallies now. He's calling the January 6 people being held as hostages. I mean, these are people that went to our Capitol, defaced our Capitol, stormed it, attempted to murder. I'll say that one more time for someone that's just trying to be in a denial place. That attempted to murder his selected vice president. Now, if you go to the Capitol and deface the nation's capital and also make an attempt on the life of congressmen as well as legislators, Capitol Police, nothing was going to get in your way other than you hanging or murdering Mike Pence so that the election could not be certified. Those are not hostages. Those are people that broke the law and that are in prison rightfully serving their time. But I get it when you're in a world where you're not used to seeing justice being served, and you're in a world where you're used to privileges being handed out, like that $400 million inheritance, then you're not used to then people getting consequences. And see, that's what this election is about. This election is a run from consequences. Because see, there is a day of justice for that young man who helped incite that insurrection against our U.S. government. I don't know about you, but a 4-star general says that they have spent time with you behind closed doors. When a 4-star general says they've seen you in action and you are enamored, in love with Adolf Hitler. Now, Hitler's agenda, it was about whiting up Germany. So I just want you to pause and think about this whole notion of who you're supporting if you support that candidate. And where would your place be? I'm just taking it from my personal stance. In 1798, because he says the only way you can make America great again is to go back to 1798. Well, when I roll the camera back and when I roll the timeline of history back to 1798, one, women did not have the right to vote. We were property of our husbands, and minorities had zero right to vote. And then I just want to stick with that idea of immigrants. So last I looked at it, the United States didn't belong to anyone but the Native Americans. We all came over. Some of us volunteered to come over on ships, and some of us were voluntold, enslaved, and came over and had to work this land called the United States. So from where they stand, I think we're all immigrants. And then what I'm hearing about the lives of the immigrants is that Springfield was a city that was about to go under. And I'm hearing that the immigrants, they are doing nothing but build that economy. So again, we're 6 days. This is day 7 into early voting here in Texas. Texas will be blue this year. Why? Because of you. Because you're going to send this to someone that needs a nudge, someone that needs a reminder. Go get yourself to the poll. And I get it. There are a lot of Texans. I'm just going to say it, and I have friends, and I'm going to say it. You come from a legacy and a heritage that support the Confederacy. You come from a heritage and a legacy of people that do not get excited about the South losing the Civil War. So for you, it's going to take all kinds of historical courage to vote against what maybe your family ties and what maybe some in your lineage and heritage have stood for decades. But isn't enough enough? Isn't it time for the United States to truly, really represent the United States? Isn't it time that we say one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all? Isn't it time in 2024 that all really does mean all? And I want us to go now and look at the start of those Trump rallies. Now he's starting with a salute and a moment of silence for the hostages. Let me get that word again. Hostages is what he's calling those that stormed our Capitol. He's saying that he wants a moment of silence for them, where Colin Kaepernick lost his entire career because he took a knee. He took a pause for what he saw as injustices in the United States. Didn't speak against the United States, didn't speak against get rid of the Constitution. He just said, I'm going to take a knee to symbolize too many African Americans are wrongfully dying at the hands of aggressive police officers. So again, for some of you to speak up and to denounce what here in Texas has been a stronghold. We have been hanging on and holding on to bigotry here in Texas. We've been hanging on and holding on to a time where everyone did not have rights. America is changing. Texas is changing. I live here in Texas, y'all. And I'm sorry, under the Biden and Harris administration, under the Trump administration, I have not seen much difference in the immigrant population. I've not had my neighborhood compromised or my city here in Texas compromised. So we've got these boogeymen in the closet. And I'm an educator, and I'm not seeing any trans pamphlets in our school districts. And I've not been to any meetings where as leaders, we've been invited to know exactly what to do with the trans community and how we're going to trans somebody's child. So these are boogeymen. These are things that are just put out there as sound bites because maybe somebody will tag on to it. So Christians at the poll, I really want you to pause and think. What characteristics of Christ? Because see, if we're Christians, we follow Christ. What characteristics of Christ do you really see that gentleman following? With the name calling, with the aggressive nature that he has toward women, with his in love of excluding a huge percentage of the American population. You all, there's no polling taxes anymore. Voting is free. Get off your derriere. Get off your behind. Get to the polls. Don't sleep, Texas. We will be blue in 2024. Why? Because of you. I'll drop a link on where to find your voting location. Most polls will be open today until about 6 p.m. And then next week, some polls will be as open as late as 9. Double check that to make sure that it's accurate information in your area. I'm sending you the poll. Don't sleep, Texas. We're on our way to a blue, they say wave. I call it a tsunami. Oh, yeah.